So let's start, because I see that we have 38 guests online and 9 people in the room. What I suggest, because I cannot look at the chat when I am doing the presentation and trying to explain things between the program and my presentation. So what I suggest is the following for people which are connected online, remotely, is you write your own question in the chat. After the end of the presentation, I won't close the course. I will look at the chat, and where possible, I will answer to the specific questions. Of course, I'm also available for specific question by email. If you have problems or specific issue, you can or reach me physically if you are at the institute, or send me an email. This year, we have a Zotero tutor. We will have a Zotero tutor. It's a researcher who is really able to deal with the program. And this person should be the mediator between your individual problems with your individual computer, software, and all the program you have in your computer with your own specific problems. So this person will be responsible for all your problems and will meet you if you have any issue with a Mac, with a Windows, with Linux, or whatever system you use and may have issues in using the problem. So let me present you before I start. I'm Serge Noiret. I am the support in the library for the history department. Zotero was a program first taught for historians. It was created mid-2007, 2008 in the United States by a history department, but it, of course, served the whole community of researchers everywhere and in all disciplines. So the session will be 2. We will now do the introduction, which will say about what is Zotero, how to install it for people who haven't yet installed the program, and especially the connectors, because the program is not functioning as such. The program is connected with a browser. So what, of course, you have to do is installing the program and installing a piece of software in the browser which will connect to the program and do the interaction when you do anything with Zotero, okay? So this is about installing. Then we will synchronize, we will see how you can synchronize your own area in the Zotero cloud and with your specific computer and program, how you can put things and which kind of data you can manage and download in Zotero, and then give you a very quick equivalent of Zotero, which is a small program located inside the browser without going into Zotero and opening program. This is quick, and it's called Zotero BIP. In the second session, it's not advanced, it's just the continuation of this one. I say advanced because it's more complicated. The feature I will tell and I will say about, it will be about organizing the knowledge inside, but it's an abstract of what I will do today. Then how you deal with bibliographical records, especially when you cite, when you write, because Zotero is a program, of course, which help you to manage your bibliographical notes and items. So when you write something in Word, you can ask Zotero to insert the bibliographical items you have already in the software itself. So the connection is citing when you write. And this is possible, and we will see, because it's the most complicated activity with Zotero, we will see in the advanced session. You see, you have 2 weeks more or less before the advanced session, because I suggest you play with, once we will finish this introduction, you will have installed Zotero, you have played with Zotero, and you have seen some issues you may have, and we will deal with this in the next session. Then Zotero, like everything now in the web, is a program not standalone. You have pieces of programs that also were developed to play some specific functions with Zotero. So this we will see 1 or 2, which are very important, especially to manage PDF. And then, of course, question and answer by question and answer, like I said, and I repeat it, please, if you have questions, I will read the chat, but only at the end of the presentation. So, what is Zotero? Zotero is a program that was invented in 2007 by the now called in 2007 it was the Center for History and New Media in the States near Washington, and this program won immediately in 2007-2008 already the premium for the best software for the American Political Science Association. So just I say this because it's really for everybody, it's not linked to the use of historians. At the moment, you have the Zotero version 5. 5 is very important because the change between version from 4 to 5 has been a revolution. Now they are just updated the last 2 numbers and regularly. So I just suggest that when you will see that when you will open Zotero, it will say there is a new version, should I install it? Yes, and it will be 90. 91 before, it's about bugs the software may have, and they are still working on it. So starting July 2017, Zotero became a standalone software. Before it was totally embedded in Mozilla and in the browser. Now it's separated from the browser. It's a software with all the contents inside your programs in your computer. What you have is, let me do this for, okay. Zotero is coupled with some browsers, not all browsers. So Internet Explorer, forget it. It's a black box. You cannot, it's not an open software. You cannot connect Zotero, which is an open source software. People can use the code and do things with the content of Zotero. So with Internet Explorer, not. But you can use and connect Zotero with Safari, Google Chrome, Mozilla, of course. And I saw this week, I did not know it, when I was starting to renew my slides for this course, that also Edge, the new browser from Microsoft, is able for a connection. I haven't verified it. This is still pending. I will look at it and we will see in the next session. It's available, of course, for Mac and for Windows. And what is more important is that the interface of the program is available in your language. Your language, because I think now there are more than 40 different languages interfaces that were developed by the users themselves in many countries. So when you download the software in the language you need for you, the interface. Of course, I am French speaking. I always download the software in English because if the people mother tongue English did the software, it's more understandable always the specific words they use to correspond to functions. And that's why I use, even if I speak French, I use always the English version, but that's up to you. So I said that Zotero is open source, and this is very important because it's really a software made for everybody to support research for everybody without asking anything to pay for if you are here at the Institute. Because, of course, if you don't, I will tell you about the license we have at the Institute, but for who is not at the Institute, and I know that some people register data far away from here, you have to pay for the clouds. Because, of course, Zotero, what is Zotero? Zotero has data, and the data are growing. If it grows, it's in the clouds in George Mason University near Washington, and they ask you after a 300 megabyte free to pay hosting each year. Here at the European University Institute, we have made a deal with George Mason from some years now. I think it's the third year that we have this deal. And this is very, very important for you to know, that you have no space limit in Zotero. What does this mean? It means that if you have already 100, 200 PDF in your computer that you have downloaded, or you have 1,000 PDF, you can put them in Zotero, have data describing the single PDF, and have them accessible everywhere, like Dropbox, for instance. You all know Dropbox or OneDrive if you are using the space in the cloud at the European University Institute. It's the same. In Zotero, you will access everywhere, everything. Okay, that's the very important difference we have with, let me see, to change my slides. Okay. So, about the documentation. You have, of course, and I've opened the website, you have, of course, the site of Zotero, zotero.org, where you have a lot of information. And you see, you have here, you have the forums, you have the documentation, you have a lot of video explaining functions. They are very useful. Also, if you just go on YouTube, you put Zotero downloading or citing, and you will have video made by people about how you have to do. Not only Zotero as a software is doing its own teaching material about how to play with it, but also people everywhere in university, they did their own material. So it's you have a lot of documentation that you can use in order to support the program. You have forums, you have frequently asked questions, you have a blog. You can be involved directly if you are a geek or you want to play with the computer and you see something that you would add to the program. It's possible you can contact them and have an interaction with them. You can follow Zotero on Twitter, on Facebook, and in Instagram with the hashtag Zotero. At the UI, we have an info page about Zotero in the library webpage, but what we will see later on. So, what is Zotero, your research assistant? These are the main functions, the main things you can do with the program. I said that it's an extension in the browser, and also already mentioned that it's about bibliographical citation. And your word processor, not only Word, but also other open access software are coupled with Zotero. But here too, it's like with the browser, you will have to download a plugin which appears inside your word processor. And you will see, for instance, in Word, but this is the next session, you will see in the top a bar with all the Zotero icons in order to interact from Word to your Zotero content. It downloads automatically PDFs. Important to know, when you will go on any bibliographical database the library is offering you to support your research, I mentioned Hein Online for law, historical abstract for historians, for instance. When you isolate a article, a bibliographical item, and you download the bibliographical item, you download also the full content of the PDF. You can download also the full content of the PDF. You will see how it works inside the 3-pin of the Zotero software. But this is very important to know. So you access to the full content, not only to the bibliographical item, and more important, if the PDF is an OCR PDF, I mean a readable PDF, a PDF that you can work with, you can copy, so it's readable, you will have access in the search engine of Zotero to the notes and everything you have done on the PDF too. So it's interactive with Zotero. What is very important is that you can archive web page. I will say more about this, but this is a function absolutely extraordinary, especially for historians, because the web today is a primary source. The web is there from 1993, and many websites worldwide are now important. And I will show you something about this, because up to me, it's even more interesting than the bibliographical citation. You can tag items in Zotero, so you can describe the items you will download in your in Zotero, and use your own keywords, your own tags describing it. This is important because you will see that there is an index of keywords you will create, and if, for instance, European law will be a tag describing a content, if you click on the tag, everything you have tagged the same way will come out and will be seen in your database. You can take notes, but notes, it means that, for instance, you will have a bibliographical item downloaded. You have written a book review on this book. This book review is 20 pages, that's a note. You can have, you will see, you have inside the program also a word processor where you can write with basic functions, you can edit, you can change, you can cancel, you can add, and all these characters become searchable inside Zotero as a database of everything you have, your notes, your tags, what you downloaded, web page, everything, you'll see. You can search with advanced search. I mean, advanced search is, for instance, I have downloaded many things, but I want to know about a tax reform. And you will decide which kind of search query you want to save, and each 2 months, 1 month, 1 week, it depends how you work with the program, you can launch again this query and you will see whether something has been added to your database. You can create groups. So for instance, let's imagine, and this is happening a lot in the history department, for instance, let's imagine that you create a group of people that are working on the same topic, intellectual history, public history. There are groups like that that are maintained by the researchers themselves. If they want to organize seminars, discuss papers, they can share in the group the literature needed for these kinds of group. Any research group can put together, so all the people in the group can input data into the shared Zotero account, because you can also have more than one. What is also important is that Zotero run after you. So if you download something, if I download something here, and I am connected with my password into my area in Zotero, when I will go home, I will go in another villa, I will go everywhere and open, I connect myself to Zotero, I will access all my data. It's the same principle as Dropbox that maybe all of you know. That's because you have access to your data, your notes and files in the cloud, okay? This is about what you have in Zotero. So installing Zotero, I don't know, of course, because I don't see the people which are attending if they already have downloaded the program or not. But if you want to download the program, you go to zotero.org, you download. And here you see you have the possibility to use it for Windows. It is set Windows because he saw that I am on a Windows system. If you are with Mac, it will say about Apple and not about Windows. And then you have the connector. You see, it works because he saw that I am using the browser Edge. In my office, I use another browser, Opera, and it would say about Opera eventually. But here you see, he saw that I am asking from Edge, the browser, to download the program, so he offered me to install the connector. You just click on it, it's an executable file, .exec. You double click on it, it installs in the browser, that's it. Nothing more, nothing less, okay? If you want to have more, connector, you see you have more connector here. You have Safari, you have Firefox, and you have Chrome, okay? I have to look at, because I saw that now also with your personal device, I mean iPhone, iPad, and other kind of reader, there is a possibility to connect to Zotero. I have still to manage this because I discovered it really recently. Now, let's come back to my slides. You see in red, this is the most important thing. This is something, that's why I never know whether I have to say wait before installing, because this is important, or install it and it's okay like that. But when you install Zotero, it will ask you, your computer will ask you where you want it to be installed. If you don't say anything, it will be installed by default under the many programs you have in your computer and you don't see it. Personally, I prefer to have it on my desktop. So, because I want to see that it's there. So, but there's no differences. It's just a preference. But I say it's important that you manage the place where you want the program be installed in your computer, and you can do it once you download it. If you have downloaded it and you haven't done anything populating the content of your software yet, you can, if you want to change the place, you erase the whole program and you re-download it where you want in your computer. So double click. What is important is that, and I'll show you because I have also opened it, Zotero as such here on my local computer without anything inside, because I want to test and show you something. It is important to understand that there is also a UI link resolver. I'll show you after. where it is in the library page. You have a long URL, a long address that has to be used in a specific place in the features of Zotero in order to connect immediately to the UI library. So, for instance, if you have a bibliographical item downloaded of an essay in a journal, it will immediately, if you click on it, through the link resolver, it will go to the UI library catalog and where we have access to the full content. This is something that many universities have. Maybe people coming here with Zotero already installed, they have a link resolver from another library where they already worked a bit with Zotero. You will have to insert an account name and password, absolutely, in order to be recognized in Zotero. Close the preference, come back, and Zotero will be synset immediately. So what does this mean? Now, this we already saw, also this. I show you all these things towards these slides. The slides, I will load them like past course of Zotero, but each year there are differences. So my slides of the course I gave in February this year, because we give 2 courses, are online in the library in a specific place where I keep all the slides and the PDF version of these slides. But I will load after the course these slides, which are updated, and you will be able to access them here. So let's go in the library. And in the library, you have research guides, yeah. And of course, it's under history and civilization, because we will change this, but at the moment it's there. And you see here you have past courses, and these past courses are referred to all the research skills seminars we are doing, for which we leave contents, the slides, the PDF, and you just have the possibility to download. For instance, now you have the presentation for historians I did in September is there, and then you see other courses of last year, last academic year, that are available there. So let's go back to our slides. I was saying you about the link resolver. This is it. The link resolver is in a library web page where you just have to copy and paste here. You will, if you look in the search engines of the institute, the bar, you just say Zotero library, and you will get this page. There are no problem to go in. So let me see Zotero itself, where it is. Yeah, okay. So you have Zotero, and here you have support and documentation. This is the program when it's open and empty. So there is nothing in, and this is what you get with the possibility to create contents, the possibility to edit, make search, and we will see, go to edit your preferences, and we will see this now. You have all the tools that are available and some help where you can know, for instance, the last version of Zotero. This is the one. You can know everything about Zotero, some contents. And discussion forum, support, You can report errors, so you have, and you will see it's really interactive. People are present because it's a very big academic community worldwide, and people are really trying to solve issues. And if you encounter any issues, you will find things. So you go to Edit, Preferences, and here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pin where you can synchronizing. You have to create your account. If you create your new account, you go, of course, registering on the Zotero web page. That's, you see, from the software, I have opened the page to register in Zotero. So if I go back to my preference, you will have to choose a username and a password. What is very important for you is that your username, or everywhere it asks for an email, will be ey.eu, at ey.eu. Don't use another email because you will be left for 300 megabytes only, and they will not recognize you as being part of this community. So if you want to access for full access to, so for all the space you can have in Zotero, so no limit of space, use always your ey.eu account. Which, by the way, when you will leave the institute, I say this if there are, for instance, some fellows that are here for some months, 1 year, 2 years, or for researchers after their 4 years, normally you keep it. You can keep it because you become a member of the alumni association, and you will keep your email. So you will keep, after leaving this place, what you have loaded during your stay here in Zotero. So this is synchronizing. It's very important. This is important because once you use a computer, you change computer, thanks to this, you can enter your own area everywhere. Let's go back to general. I don't know, if you want, you can change. I never change anything here, but that's why I'm not seeing well the computer, sorry. Now I see something. I don't see you, but I see the screen. So you see, you have different user interface. You automatically retrieve metadata for PDF. This is very important because you will see there is a function that when you download the PDF, you click on it and it harvests this, the description, the bibliographical description of each PDF. So it's not just raw material there. It will add a cover saying the title, the author, the page, the journal, the issues, the year of publication, all these data that are embedded in the PDF. So leave it, of course, don't take it away, leave it because you access all the metadata systematically. Sometimes you will have to do it by yourself if you see that the PDF downloaded won't have the data that are accompanying the PDF itself. And sometimes the PDF is closed and you won't be able to have it. So you will have to tag the PDF to have this information that normally are embedded in it. So also this, because you have this, somebody which has 300 megabytes here should do like that. Because if you go on the web, if you go on bibliographical or journal website where you have all the PDF, all the contents that you see on the browser, you will download everything, and the weight is important. After a certain time, you download many things. So who has only 300 megabytes here, don't do a systematic and automatic download of everything. For you, if you are a member of the UI, leave it like that. It's very important. You leave it here. Also here, I will leave everything. The only thing you may decide to is the interface if you want large, medium, the layout, and so on. So we have seen general, don't change anything. Synchronization, synchronize yourself. Search, we have the possibility to, you don't have to touch it, it's rebuild the index of the whole indexation of the content you have in the program. Don't touch this at the moment. Export, this is by default the way you will export your data, but not only to another software like Word, but export it from Zotero to copy and paste and do something with what you will export. You will see that once you have things inside, you can ask to create a kind of page where you have the description of the item. And this is also the style in which you can have it. So you have many, many different styles. This is what I said to the lawyers in this room before starting. The bibliographical styles that are available are thousands. By default, you have here the most important one. You can download others. But for court bibliographical items, for quoting court sentences, it's quite complicated. You will have to look at the best one, the one which is nearest. Cite, here you have it, the styles you want to, and the word processor, and this is important, very important. You see, under cite you have two things. The cite is the style you will use connecting with the word processor. But next to it, you see you have word processor, and it's very important that here this at reinstall, I'll do it. Okay. And now I have, once I have done this for Microsoft Word, or here you see also LibreOffice, if you have an open source processor, you can install it for LibreOffice if you have it and you don't have Word. And if I open Word, let's see whether I have Word here. Microsoft Office. Office tools, no. Well, should be here. I want to show you where it is because it's important for you to verify whether you have installed it or not. Let's see whether I have it in directly from the desktop. Oh yeah, right, that was, yeah, right, thank you. So I open Word, blank document, and let's see whether, maybe I have to, let us see, no, it should be, anyway, it should be here. You should have, once you have a document, in at the end here, you should have a pin with Zotero and with all the icon of what you can do with Zotero. So it should be here. Maybe I have to relaunch my computer for installing it. But anyway, this is where you install the small piece of software that connects to your word processor. Advanced, that's the last. Here you have the possibility to insert the resolver that UI library is offering you. And the resolver is here. I was here, so search for. Let's see. Is the library toolkit. You see, you have information about many things. Introduction to Zotero. And here you should have unlimited space, multiple languages, EY, using Zotero with EY links. There is a screenshot of where you have to go. Preferences is an old version of Zotero because you have seen that the preferences are under edit at the last item. And what you do, you just copy this resolver and you put it in Zotero here instead of WorldCat libraries, which is there by default. And so you will see in the program that you will connect, especially with the library catalog and reaching the full content of issue in journals that we may have. Okay, and this is it about the pane we have seen. Now, let's go back to my slides. Okay, until now, of course, the question can come from the room. If you have problems, no problem for asking me. So, this I have already said it. With Fairfax in Virginia, we have this agreement. The person who managed Zotero and other software that we are using here at the Institute, for instance, in the spring, now it's 3 years that we have done this. We do another course for another software that George Mason, the Roy Rosenzweig Center for History and New Media is doing, which is called Tropy. Tropy, it's a Zotero-like management tool for images. So if you go in archive, if you make photos of documents, anything, if you have your own family photos, everything can be inserted in Tropy. Of course, you can also do things like that in web page, in Zotero, but this is only about pictures, and you can then manage this. The person responsible for Tropy and also Zotero, thanks to which we had this possibility of all the space we have without limitation, is now professor at the University of Luxembourg. He came from the US and he is at Luxembourg. So he comes and his name is Sun Takach, and he's coming doing a course in spring about Tropy. We hope, of course, it will still be possible because of the COVID, but in last January, he came and did the course for Tropy. So you can register also for a Zotero account. It's you have seen, you can do this. What do you reach there? You have the possibility to, it's like a social media because you have many people registered in the Zotero cloud, on the Zotero website, and many people are looking at shared libraries. Many people are sharing libraries. You will see also, and you have it here by default. Let me go back to, once you will register, you will have a lot of, you will have your area and a public area below your area of folders. I'll show you once we start inputting things in Zotero. So there are shared libraries where you can go by topic. If you have a special topic, you want to see contents, you have many things available in Zotero shared libraries. But this is because people are registering and are becoming part of a community in Zotero. So we have seen this. We have looked at how to install. That's the community you have. You can discover people, you can browse through research. They have their CV loaded. It's a kind of, like I said, social media where you can meet other researchers. Now, let's getting stuff into Zotero, the basic way to download. You have 3 pins, you see? These are the 3 pins. This is a screenshot of my own Zotero. What you have on the left are normal folder you will create by yourself. Inside each folder, you will have material that you will have downloaded from your web browser, where you want to download it. So if you create I'll show you, if you create a folder, if Zotero is pointing to this folder, what you will download will go in this folder. If you, and this is without changing the folder, if you want to be sure what you will download will go in the correct folder you want it to go, you will have to first select the folder and then download things. This is important to know when you do this. Then, in the middle, what do you have? You have all the content of a single folder. So if I have selected a folder, now I have everything I have downloaded in this single folder. And what do I have in the third pin? I have in the third pin a single element. You see, this is the single element that I have in a single folder. So you narrow it. You have the whole configuration of your software in folders. Then you have an opened folders, and then you have the description of the single element you have in the folder that are here. Okay. Now this is important. I'll show you, and then I'll show you how to download and what to download. Let's close this. Go back to Zotero. So let's say that I am here. I have no folder yet. You see, here you can do things. If I click on this, I decide to create a new folder. I call it test. And now you see I have a folder. If I am in test, everything I will do now will go into test, the folder I just created. So if I create another folder, test2, where it goes here next to your, and you can eventually decide to have it under test. So you can have a structure of folders that are the same as you have in your computer, where things are put exactly with a hierarchy you decide about. For instance, there are people that are using more Zotero libraries, and one can be your thesis, where what do? You just put the folder which correspond to the index, the structure of your thesis. So at the beginning, you may have 5 chapters, the bibliography, the introduction, the conclusion, and you have 6 folders. But once you go further, in chapter 1, you have paragraph 1, which is about this, paragraph 2, which is about that. And this is the structure of your thesis. So all the material supporting your research for your thesis, or for your essay, or for your book, can be organized that way, the structure of your book, of your thesis, of your essay. So to have all the research material which serve the cause of your writing there at hand, it's handy because you know it's there, and you just go when you write a paragraph to this, and you know the bibliography, you know input. It's a very useful way to do. So here you see we have 2 folders. Let's now go to, if I close this, I don't see anything. If I open, I see. If I close this, I don't see test 2 because it's under test. Now, here you can create a new group, and the new group is, for instance, just your thesis, okay? Now let's go back to, I decide, if I leave my library, what I will download will go in the root of my structural folder. It will go into my library, not in a single folder. So let's take test. Did I have installed the, I don't know whether Edge has the Zotero. Don't think so. Extensions. You know, because I'm not in my computer. So let's see if I have this. No, I don't have it. So let's go back to Zotero and install Edge connector. It's the first time I use Edge with Zotero, so I don't, let me see whether it's possible or not yet, okay. Add extension. This is the same, what I have done now, going to the Zotero website, looking for looking for the connector with the browser. We have it. Yeah, this is turn on synchronization, but I don't want to synchronize with my own area in Zotero. But I have it here. So now you have seen this was not available before. So on each browser you will have icons that are very different because of the type of material, of document you are viewing through your browser. When it's a basic web page, not a book, not a PDF, not a movie, not for instance, an article in newspapers or whatever you would like to download, all these have different icons, but they are all here available in your bar next to the URL where you have it. So let's say that I am interested in this page. I am looking at contents that I want to have in my Zotero library. So the whole page. I mean the whole page with everything which is behind, images, contents, PDF, the whole content of what you are seeing, not only the text, for instance. What I do, I have selected the folder test, I click on this, and let's hope it worked. Yeah, save to Zotero. Let me see whether it functions. Sorry, I have always to move the bar of who is attending remotely. No, it doesn't. It hasn't worked yet. So let me try. I'm sure that with Chrome, I have it already installed. You see, Chrome is better because I have to quit Edge and reopen it. Because I've had other windows open it, I just changed my browser. I went to Chrome. I have it here. Save to Zotero with embedded metadata, because in my general functions, I haven't unticked the possibility to get everything. So now you see it's downloading. You see it. It's saving to test, and it's saving with the metadata that are here up and the page which is below the metadata you are saving. You can decide to change before doing it. You can decide where you want from this bar, okay? Now it's okay. It should disappear. It disappears when it's downloaded, Okay, now I go back to Zotero. Sorry, I move again the bar, and you see we have an element inside test. I have an element I have downloaded, but also this element can be opened because these are the metadata, and the metadata you see are here. It's an item, a web page, the title of the web page, authors, it's not there, abstract, you have no abstract. All these, you can fulfill information yourself. Okay, so you have website title, you have the URL, you have, and that is very important if you work with the web as a primary source. The data you have, the data here says exactly when you have downloaded, and it's important, especially for political scientists. You may do some analysis of, I don't know, the program of political parties that are available on their webpage. These programs are changing continuously. So you may have downloaded the last 2 or 3 years, each month, each week, the same page, and have the possibility to compare what you have downloaded. This is very useful, and that's why this information is important. You have the language, and you have the date you added it, and the date you modified it, because modifying is, for instance, putting an abstract, or eventually deciding that it's not a web page, but it's a blog page. Of course, for the browser, it doesn't interpret the difference between a blog which is in the browser and a web page which is in the browser. But here, if you open the item type, you can select, you see, the many different way of having your description of the content you have in your folder, and the way you can control it better, because if it's a blog post, it's different. I changed, and the item you can fulfill describing the blog post, change it. Now, for instance, it's important for adding a name for the blog post, for instance, the blog title, the website type. So you can do, if you are dealing with, I don't know, emails, movies, instant message, interview, journal article, things change. If I take journal article, look at how many different fields I have now to fulfill. These fields, if I would have been in the website of a journal on a specific issue and a specific article, and I would have downloaded it, all these fields would be available in this caption. Here you see you have the snapshot, and the snapshot is the link to what you have downloaded. So here you have the description, here you have the snapshot. If you click on it, you go to the page, imagining that the page is still available. You go there, okay? If the page is not available, you have it in Zotero, exactly the way you have downloaded it, the moment you have downloaded it. So if you have the error of 404, which is the page is not available anymore on the web, no problem, you have it. You can look locally at your page. How? And this enters to something which is absolutely decisive to manage all the functions of Zotero. You have your mouse, and once you are on anything on a folder, on an element you have downloaded, you open with the right button of your mouse. I don't know to what it is corresponding in Apple, in non-Windows computer, but it's the same. You have the possibility when you open to see how many different things you can do with this element. You can view online, but you can view the snapshot. And let's go. If you have no, you know that the web page is not anymore available on the web directly, or you have no connection to internet. This is also another possibility. You have, where you are, you have no connection to internet, but you have all these web pages, and you just click on View Snapshot. And now it says how do you want to open this file? Of course, a browser, because it's a web page. So you choose the web page, the browser you want. You say, OK. And what do I have here? Look, in the URL bar. It's not a URL anymore. It's a link to my local area in my local computer where this element has been saved. So this is the place where in Zotero storage, I have this web page I have downloaded. And this is the way I see the page I just downloaded. You see, I have everything. All the elements, which are, by the way, clickable. But because you have no connection to internet or the page is not available, you won't find it. I'll tell you about not finding it later on. So we have seen this, very important. If I go, you see, to snapshot and not to the caption, to the description of what I have downloaded, if I go there, I can view a snapshot, show the file, which are the different files that are composing the web page I have downloaded. Eventually, a destructuration of the page between images, text, PDF, whatever I have downloaded, and it's a package of different data I have online. You can move to trash, you can show where it is in the library, you can export the item, you can create a bibliography from the item. Here not because I have to select this. You can duplicate, you can find if there is an attachment. Link. This I will show you better in the next session what you can do to attach, because you can also work with things you have outside the program and link a PDF or file you have not in Zotero with a link to it inside Zotero. You can do many things to this. Create a bibliography. It asks you in which styles. So a bibliography will be only about these elements, but you see is the way to look at it. I'll say OK. And now I have a specific file in the RTF rich text format, which is available, readable with many, many different software that I can save. This is the bibliographical element. I can do generate a report from the item. Generate a report is this. You create a web page with the information that you can print, you can copy, and you have all the elements describing your item at hand. So let's go back to my presentation in PowerPoint to see whether I have set everything. Click on the icon you have seen. Create new item from current page button, adding PDF and retrieving metadata. This we will do with one PDF. You can look by unique identifier. It's also you can search by ISBN, by DOI, etc. You can manually add items. For instance, this I haven't shown you. I am here. Let's reduce Zotero on my computer. Let's move it here and let's go down. Let's see whether somebody left any piece of document. Yeah. I have this. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. It's on the desktop of my computer. It's not on Zotero. I take it. I say it has to go to test 2, okay? I go to test 2. I now have the PDF I had in my desktop inside my Zotero library. So it will be indexed and available everywhere. I did it with one file. You can go in one of your folder in your computer and take 100 PDF, and in one drag and drop function, you leave it in the folder you want, and it will be in your, and you have seen, it created, we have the PDF here. So if I double click, I will open the PDF, like I have opened the web page I have downloaded, and here I have the description of the journal article, because by default I have done this. It's here available, and I can do whatever I want with. So one thing to finish about the idea and the importance of website, because I'm seeing that I'm running out of time. We have only 15 minutes left. You have seen what is important, and I've already mentioned, is that you, when you capture the web, you have the possibility also, maybe all of you already know, but online you have the archive of the web. So what is not available on the web is available in the archive of the web, which is called archive.org, where you have all the version of all websites worldwide. Something is missing, but mainly you have everything, even the social media. Even if, for instance, you want to go back to a page of a website in Twitter or Facebook 5 years ago, you go and you have it in archive.org. So it's not only private firms that are looking at your data, but also archive.org is taking all those things. So, for instance, let's say that you want to, I don't know whether it's possible. I will go to show you an example, because this is important, and this is an important function of Zotero. You want to know how was the Institute website in 1998? Because archive.org started archiving websites, especially university websites, 1995, 1996. The web, as we know it, is there from 1993, but websites start to be important, and especially in the academic area, it's available from 1996 onward. So I go to archive.org, I enter, and what do I have? I have many things in archive. I don't want to say anything about Internet Archive. For me, it's the most important website worldwide. This is a website that everybody should know about and should use. But what is interesting here is the Wayback Machine. It's the possibility for you to retrieve past version of a website. You know the address. This is important. You have to know the past URL. The Institute was, until the beginning of this new millennium, Italian one. Istituto Universitario Europeo, Italy. So you look for this. Sorry, I've forgotten. And now I'm looking for this. Let's see. You see, that's the number of pages they have. So we have the European University Institute from 1997 to here, and then it changed. Let's go to 1997, which is, by the way, a lot of time ago. And what? No, sorry. Yes, I know you have the introduction for history. Yeah. No, you're afraid. And anyway, I think it will be registered. But mainly, I have set the main feature. You will. There's no problem too. Biblio. Let's see this one. It's going there. Oh, sorry. This is, I don't know why it's not taking back the web page. Let's go there. The problem is just to show you what you can do with an archived web page and Zotero. Okay, this is what I wanted to get. You see, this is the last version, archived in archive.org. Something is changing. I don't know, I don't want to, it's strange that it's not functioning, it's still working, but what do you get? You will get a page like this one that I have in my PowerPoint. You have a page like this one, where you have the different moments the website you are looking for has been archived. When you click on the date, it was archived, 1997, you will reload the version of this website of January 1997. I suggest you do it to see how the website of the Institute and the Institute was in January 1997, and of course for many other years. So this is important because in Zotero, when you have this, you download the archived page of a website in archive.org in a specific folder, and then you can work with it in the future because you will have it in your library. Okay, so this is quite important. So now, the last thing I want to say, I see I have still a lot of things because I was too long, but anyway, I can say you where things are. When you are in your library, in Zotero, you can search, and this is where you can search. So if you do this, you open an advanced search where you can combine data that are covering all the contents you have, and you send and you have it. Like I said, if you want to save a search, you save a search and you do it again. This is possible. If you want to connect, if you want to connect with the link resolver, I said you have to copy and paste in the preference of Zotero. You use this library lookup, and it will look whether the library catalog has the content, and if you have a full access to it. You can do it for the Google Scholar too, etc. Now, you have seen the last pane here. I said you can change the item tape, but also, what could you do? I can add notes. That's the second pane. You see, info is this, notes. You can add notes. And now you open a window where you can write anything, but of course you can write, but you can also decide that you don't want to write, but you just want to copy-paste. So I copy this, I go back to Zotero, I paste it, and that's it. And now look, under my, the item I have take into my Zotero under test 2, I have a node. And the content of the node is now part of the database and is searchable. So if you look for bibliographic information, it will be retrievable. Of course, now we have only 2 elements, but when you have thousands of elements, this starts to become important. Okay, this is a node. Now, let's go back to here and have tags. This is what I said you can add by yourself. You will see that often when you download something, you will already have by default tags describing. So you will have tags. And the tags appearing here, they appear here on the end of the first page. So if I add a tag, I say test2, enter, test1, enter, biblio, enter, you see, now they are here. And if I have 1,000 elements in Zotero, I click on biblio, and I will have all the elements appearing which are connected with biblio. Related, add, I can say that this item I have in Zotero should be linked with this one, okay? And now, this is a semantic connection. If you create, for instance, a structure of the book you are writing, this is a way to say, if I have this, I don't have to forget also to quote this. Or I don't have to, and this is a possibility to connect items between them. So you have info, notes, tags, related. That's it. You see this? This is important because once you click on it, you will synchronize what you have here with the cloud. And then once you will open another computer, you will see that the arrow is turning around because it will add what is in the cloud, but not yet in the local computer you haven't opened it. This is important. It will do it by default. If you want to be really prudent, because you may, and I did it, and I did it this summer, and I lost years of work. I, by mistake, canceled a folder with a lot of things. So automatically, if you have the automatic synchronization, it will cancel it in the cloud and then cancel it in my other device. If it's not like that, what I can do is when I go to the other computer, I know that I have done a mistake with a folder. I take the folder, I copy it under another address in my library. So when I will synchronize again, what I had in the computer before will be deleted, but what I did in my computer that I have opened it will be added to the cloud, so I haven't lost anything in this case. But you have to know that you have done it, yeah?
A question about that. For example, I created the tag.
Yeah.
With all the bibliography from my newspaper last year.
Yes.
The question is, okay, so when I press the tag, all my bibliography appears, but I don't know whether I can automatically create the bibliography and paste it to the Word document based on the tag.
No, based on the tag, you don't do it. But no, but this it's a specific thing. Because we are connected to many people, I cannot. Yeah, we are many still. So we are still 35 people outside this room looking at the. So let me finish here with the synchronization I have told you. This we have seen now, and downloading, adding PDF, in a way we have seen it. We have seen it how to do. If you go, let's see, and maybe it's the last thing I can do, I have still 5 minutes. If I go, hoping it will work, I am in the library, and I go to the catalog. Let me see. Sorry, I looked at you, and now I have to look at the. I go to the library catalog. So it's here. I look for instance, a journal. I search for. Public history review. I go to the journal website. Of course, you have to choose this. We go immediately because we are on campus, but let's think we are going through EBSCO, hoping EBSCO is functioning. No, EBSCO is not. We have problem at the moment. This is the problem of the online, on the online connection. Let's see another one. It's another journal, the Public Historian. We go here. My problem is just to download any article, you see. I go to University of California Press. I have the last volume. This is an article I'm interested in. And you see, I have all the information about the single article. I am here, you see that you have the icon of Zotero. So I go and I say, okay, I want it in test 1, be downloaded. So I am in my browser, I click on it, and you see the full text PDF is downloading together with the bibliographical information of the article. It takes a bit of time because, of course, you have some data. Now I come back to here. I have a more complete description, you see. We have here an article, journal article, title, author, the abstract, the volume, issue, the page, and the journal abstract, etc., even the provider, the library catalog, we have everything. So what we have here, full text PDF, and we have all the elements, but I have the full text. If I double click on my full text PDF, here we are. I see it. I am in Adobe and I'm looking at the full text PDF, okay? So it is working that way. Let me see. You can add, these are, of course, you have different icons. Yeah, Zotero Bib, I won't say anything now. You can, is zbib.org. It's the possibility for you to work in the browser. I have no time, unfortunately, to look at this now. I think I've shown you all the feature inside. What do you have? Yes, here you can install, we haven't looked at tools. We have looked at edit, copy citation. I have told you about what you can do with the right button of your mouse. You can do a lot of things. In tools, of course, what is important to know is we have downloaded, but you can create by yourself elements. So you don't have to be online. You can decide, I have all the information about something I want in my library, so I can do, here I can say I want a book, and you see, I have the book, I do everything by myself. I have to fulfill all the fields here by myself, but I have created a book. I can create a journal article, a document, a newspaper article, and there will be different, you see, that's a journal article icon. If you are on the New York Times looking at the article, the icon in the browser will be this, and not the one we have seen for an article in an academic journal, and so and so. So you will have many things, but this you create by yourself. You do you add notes, you add child notes, I mean notes below the level of an item you have downloaded. You can attach links that you can relate, etc. And you search. So now you have everything more or less clear how the interface of the program is available. Okay, We will continue about Zotero on the 14th of October. I think it's 1:30 this time. And we will start with how you use the content inside your word processor. If we have time, I will look at Zotbib, the other resident in the browser software for Zotero. And we will eventually play with your questions, because you have two weeks now to install, to download things, to look whether it goes, to put all the connectors you need, connector for browser, connector for your word processor, so to be able to work next time. What I will do now is looking at the chat in Zoom, whether there are questions raised by the people which are not in the room, and if I can, I will answer. But I will answer in the Zoom session. I will not write anything in my, let me see now, I will stop share my my contents, and let's see the chat. Okay. No OK button on the bottom of my. There is no OK button at the bottom of my setting. Oh, that's a private message. I cannot confirm any change. Might that be due to the Mac version? I think that there is somebody who said I have no OK button at the bottom of my setting sessions. How do I get to know whether I have put the UA link resolver? Normally, if you press return, it's OK. It should be here. And if you want to really be sure, you use the green arrow up in the program, and you connect to the library, and you will see whether you enter or not the library catalog. Will the slides be posted online? Yes, still today in the page past courses, I will load my slides. So for you to come back to the slides, both in PPT and PDF version. I had a question about adding the Zotero plugin to Word on a Mac, but I guess that will be answered next time. It's not different in the sense that if you have a Mac, when you download from the pane from here, but yes, I have not anymore my screen connected. But if you go to the edit preferences and you go to the pin site and word processor, you click on it, you will retrieve the Mac plugin. It should be like that. What are advantages of Zotero compared to EndNote? One, we don't support anymore EndNote. There are no calls anymore, but if you want to, this is a very good question because there are many other software managers, but at the Institute, we choose Zotero because it's free, because we have a full access, and because it does exactly the things that a commercial software like EndNote is doing. So we will get rid even of the free license we offer to the researcher of EndNote in the future. So if you want to continue with EndNote, you can. If you want to continue with Citavi, you can. If you want to continue with another software, you can. But what you can also do, and this I forgot to tell to the people, and this is important, what you can still do is if you have an EndNote library, a Citavi library, you can export in a format, pip text, for instance, that can be read by Zotero. Zotero can import your data from another software. So if you want to change software, you don't want to use EndNote anymore, you export all your content and you reinsert your content, saying to Zotero, add this data into my library, my Zotero library. It will be added completely with all the data. It's compatible. Of course, you have to download in the right format for Zotero to read the data. That's important. Maybe I will say something next time for the advanced session. So the advantages is also because it's an open source, is done, and also in the past, EndNote suited legally Zotero in New York because they said that the bibliographical data the people had in EndNote were property of EndNote. So they had a legal action about this, about the intellectual property of the content of the data. And so it's not nice. It's a public software, open one, developed for everybody to look at against a commercial software. That's why you may prefer EndNote. I don't want to say there are other software you may prefer. You can continue to work with this. We are not saying anything about this. Or can we create citation to integrate to my doc in Word from an item in Zotero or directly from, for example, an academic paper? How can we create citation? Yes, this is the content of next session. I will exactly describe how you do. So when you are in Word, you have a text, but the citation has to be already in Zotero in order for you to import the citation into your document, exactly where you want. On a note, in the text, at the end, you will see that you can manage the bibliography. The problem is that once you use Zotero connected to a bibliography you create, you don't have to change the note by yourself because in the text you will have indicators that connect with your Zotero library. So sometimes, and this is the way I use it, I prefer to ask Zotero to open the bibliographical item so then I can copy it and paste it where I want in my Word document. This is a more basic way to do, but for instance, is the way I am doing. But many people are not doing like that. They are really using the way you can cite when you write with the software. A last question, is it possible to link an existing Zotero account to the UI to access the benefit, or do I need to create a new one with my UI email? This is a good question. And I don't know if I have the answer, but I think that you can, when you go to your Zotero area describing you can change your email. And you can change your email because you say you have another email. So you change just your email and it will be recognized. And because of this, I think you will access all the EY facilities, which are the possibility to have free access to the space. This is possible. You can change your email and you have to put your EY email. I hope it functions. Please try it. Eventually send me an email, but this is something then that we can discuss in the next session. Okay, everybody. I see that we had also people from Greece that registered. I don't know how they knew about this session, but there were many people registered from Greece. Thank you for attending. We'll see each other next session on the 14th of October, 1:30. It's inside another room at the Badia, but we will be online too here. Hello, everybody. Have a good day. Thank you from Greece. Yes.